They never tell you this. The greatest turning points in life rarely arrive with fireworks. They arrive quietly, like a pause in the air, a silence that unsettles you, a stillness that feels almost too heavy to ignore. Transformation doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, "This no longer fits." You wake one morning and the world feels outdated. The walls around you carry the echoes of who you used to be. Not wrong, not broken, just expired. And in that moment, something deeper than thought stirs inside. It's time to leap. Not a leap of muscle, not a leap of metaphor, a leap of energy, a quantum leap. Most people dismiss quantum jumping as a catchy phrase for positive thinking. But what if it's more than metaphor? What if, just as in physics, there exists a real shift, an instantaneous relocation of self, where alignment changes so completely that no bridge, no staircase, no gradual climb is required? In the quantum world, electrons don't climb ladders. They vanish from one orbit and reappear in another the instant they absorb enough energy. Physicists call this a discontinuous transition. No in-between, no halfway, just here and then there. That's not poetry. That's science. And what if you, as a being woven into infinite timelines, operate the same way? What if those restless urges to release, to walk away, to break free, weren't just emotions, but signals? Signals that your field is charging for a jump. The tragedy is, most people ignore it. They rationalize. They stall. They calculate the cost, while their soul has already moved on. The heart has leapt, but the mind lingers, trying to explain what's already happened. That's why change feels chaotic, because you're resisting a leap that has already begun. And the only thing slowing it down is your obsession with how. Quantum leaps don't obey logic. They don't require explanation. They require coherence, alignment, a decision that vibrates louder than your fear. That's the instant the field answers back. That's when the leap locks into place, and you've tasted it before. The day a relationship ended, and suddenly you felt lighter, as if years had fallen off your shoulders. The moment you walked away from a job and the air itself seemed sharper, fresher. The time you stopped justifying yourself, and the silence that followed slowly gave way to unexpected openings. Those weren't gradual shifts. They weren't steps on a staircase. They were jumps, not marked on a calendar, but broadcast through your signal. And if you didn't see proof right away, it wasn't because nothing happened. It was because the field was still rearranging itself around your new coordinates. That's the nature of it. The second you decide, not wish, not hope, but decide on a new state of being, the field begins to reconfigure. But here's the trap. Most people abort the leap too soon. They panic when the outer world doesn't shift instantly. They doubt, they retreat, and the timeline collapses back into the familiar. Here's the twist. A quantum jump doesn't demand belief. It demands signal. You don't need to convince yourself it's real. You only need to stop transmitting the frequency of who you used to be. And that's where this journey begins. Because in the next few minutes, you'll see why quantum jumping isn't just a metaphor. It's a process, a science of vibrational precision. And once you learn to engage it deliberately, you stop reacting to circumstances. You begin selecting them. So don't rush to understand it all at once. Just stay with it. If something already feels different in your body right now, you may already be mid-jump. But here's the first rule. You can't leap while clinging. Because a jump isn't about acquiring something new. It's about becoming someone new. And that requires letting go of what no longer resonates. Thoughts, habits, identities, timelines. Not in fragments, but fully, energetically. You can't broadcast the frequency of your future while still entangled with the emotions of your past. The field doesn't respond to the loudest voice. It responds to the clearest one. This is where quantum mechanics meets identity psychology. In the quantum field, every possibility already exists. You don't create a new timeline. You tune into it. And the key isn't in doing more or visualizing harder. It's in collapsing the wave of your current self, becoming emotionally unavailable for the version of you that built this present reality. That's the paradox. You don't find your new life by fixing the old one. You leap by no longer being the one who needed it fixed. This isn't theory. Neuroscience shows us that identity is not just a story. It's a network of neural pathways. Each morning you replay your regrets, anxieties, and problems. You're reactivating the familiar self. That self has a frequency, and that frequency tells the field, keep broadcasting the same. But what happens when you interrupt the loop? When you wake and ask, what would my future self do now? And then, without evidence, you act as if, not pretending, not faking, but deciding. Because every future is a frequency, every identity is a code. You don't earn it, you tune to it. And tuning requires one thing above all: emotional congruence. If you affirm abundance but feel scarcity, the field mirrors scarcity. If you visualize success but carry guilt, the field reflects guilt. That's not failure, it's feedback. The universe isn't judging you, it's calibrating to you. So ask yourself, what emotions are you still rehearsing that belong to the self you're leaving behind? Worry? Pleasing others? Hiding? These aren't just habits, they're frequencies, and they keep you entangled with the timeline you claim you want to exit. To collapse the old identity is to stop rehearsing it. You don't need 30 days, 21 steps, or a ritual calendar. You need a single moment of absolute energetic honesty. You look at the version of yourself still clinging to the old story and whisper, I honor you, but I no longer walk with you. That's the fracture. That's the leap. That's the signal the field responds to. Because the field isn't scanning for perfection or excitement. It's scanning for coherence. A state where thought, feeling, action, and belief all hum at the same frequency as the life you claim you want. And the moment you strike that chord, even for a heartbeat, the quantum field locks in. Then something unexpected happens. The urge to prove, to push, to chase, dissolves. What remains is neutrality, clarity. And that neutrality isn't detachment. It's evidence that the old identity has gone offline. This is why transformation can feel strangely uneventful. Without the drama of doubt, without the tug of war of duality, there is only presence. And presence is power. You are no longer waiting for the shift. You are no longer becoming the self. You are the self, and the field, like a mirror with no delay, begins to echo that back. But only if you hold it. Only if you don't blink. Only if you don't collapse when evidence doesn't appear on your timeline fast enough. This is what separates a quantum jumper from a quantum wisher. The jumper sends a signal and stays in it. The wisher sends a signal, waits for proof, and when proof doesn't arrive, they fall back into the old broadcast, the old identity, the old life. But not you, because by the end of this journey, you'll know how to hold the signal, how to silence the doubt, how to collapse the version of you that cannot follow where you're going. This isn't about metaphysics. It's about memory. Remembering the self that already exists and choosing to live from there. And in the next part, I'll show you how to make that choice stick. Because most people don't need more information. They need a protocol. A way to act when the mind spirals, when the body panics, when the old identity claws to pull them back. So let's clear the myth right now. Quantum jumping isn't a single decision. It's a sequence, a vibrational ritual, a daily act of collapsing the illusion that you are fixed, limited, or late. The process has 5 movements. Not rigid steps, but energetic postures that allow you to inhabit the version of yourself that already exists in the timeline you've been reaching for. We'll call it the broadcast shift. Step 1. Recognize discomfort as a signal, not a failure. Each time the old self resurfaces, the fear, the hesitation, the delay, don't resist it, don't condemn it. See it for what it is, the threshold of the leap. In quantum language, discomfort is nothing more than energetic static, the interference between the frequency you've lived in and the one you're tuning toward. The mistake most people make is misreading that static as rejection, when in truth, it's a sign of recalibration. Step 2. Break the pattern. When the old emotion rises, your body wants to slide back into the familiar story. That's inertia. The power move is to interrupt the signal, shift your posture, change your breath. Speak something out loud. Do something physical, symbolic, disruptive. Neuroscience shows that interrupting a pattern is the fastest way to break neural repetition and carve space for a new choice. Step 3. Embody the frequency. This is the jump point. Ask yourself, if I already had what I desired, how would I feel right now? Then let that feeling saturate your nervous system. Not pretending, not daydreaming, being. For 90 seconds, 3 minutes, long enough for your field to flood with coherence. The field doesn't measure outcomes, it measures signals, so broadcast the one you want. Step 4. Act from the new identity. Quantum jumping isn't passive. It's not waiting for reality to catch up. It's demonstrating the shift through action. Send the message. Hold the boundary. Choose the thought. It doesn't matter how small. What matters is that it's consistent with the version of you already living in that frequency. This is how entanglement begins. The field mirrors back proof because your signal has become measurable. Step 5. Release the timeline. Stay in the vibration. This is where most collapse. They do the ritual, feel aligned, and then immediately scan the world for evidence. The moment you look for proof, you've stepped out of frequency and back into fear. Real jumping means holding the vibration even when nothing has changed yet, especially then. That's the test, and the field is always listening. Let's make this practical. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, sit upright and ask, which version of me am I choosing to broadcast today? Close your eyes. Breathe. Let the answer come through posture, breath, and energy, not thought. Maybe it's calm, bold, trusting, expansive, free. Hold that signal for 2 minutes. Then walk into your day as if nothing else exists but that version of you. Speak from it. Move from it. Respond from it. And watch what shifts. Because when your entire being becomes the broadcast, reality has no choice but to reorganize. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped echoing the old frequency. You're no longer just a receiver. You've become a transmitter, and transmitters don't chase proof. They create it by holding the signal until it materializes. More important than the leap itself is learning how to anchor it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't fail because they lacked desire. They fail because they never understood the mechanics of energetic sabotage. They thought doubt was harmless. They thought checking for proof was normal. They didn't realize that every time they whispered, "Is it working?" they collapsed the signal and slipped back into the orbit of the old self. Let's break it down. In quantum physics, the observer effect shows that the act of measuring a particle changes its state. In human transformation, the act of doubting your shift changes its frequency. It's not about being endlessly positive. It's about refusing to interrupt the new signal with the old identity's fear. Here's the sequence. You declare a new version of yourself. You feel it. You act from it. The field begins to respond. Then, silence. No proof, no sign. And the old programming whispers, maybe I imagined it, maybe I'm not ready, maybe I did it wrong. That's the collapse. Not because the shift wasn't real, but because you stopped broadcasting it. The field can only mirror what you sustain. This is where emotional mastery matters. Not suppression, but awareness. Doubt arises? Name it. Don't become it. Impatience stirs? Observe it. Don't feed it. You catch yourself scanning for signs? Pause. Return to signal. Every emotion is a frequency, and the field is mechanical, not personal. It doesn't punish fear. It simply reflects it. So the question isn't, how do I stop feeling this? It's, which feeling do I choose to embody even when this one shows up? That's what it means to anchor the jump. You don't wait to feel ready. You practice the signal until it becomes your nervous system's default. And here's the paradox. The less you chase the result, the faster it arrives. Why? Because chasing implies separation. Separation implies lack. And lack tells the field, this isn't mine. So when you say, I'll believe it when I see it, you've already lost. But when you say, I believe it, and that's why I'll see it, you've already leapt. This is choosing yourself without proof. Backing your new identity even when the world hasn't caught up. Refusing to wait for permission to be who you already are. So here's your invitation, not just to watch, but to engage. Comment below, I choose myself. Say it, type it, anchor it. Not for me, not for the algorithm, for your own coherence, because that micro broadcast of certainty is exactly what the field is waiting for. Not action, not perfection, alignment. Alignment that says, I don't need to be convinced. I'm already there. This is how timelines stabilize. Not through effort, but through repetition of signal. The one who returns to the vibration the fastest, no matter what appears, is the one who shifts reality first. And that could be you. Now, what happens when the field begins to respond? Not the visualization, not the decision, but the moment your broadcast becomes so consistent, so precise, that the quantum field has no choice but to reflect it back. Chaos, silence, reorganization. Because here's the hidden truth. Your new frequency doesn't just attract, it repels what no longer matches. At first, that feels like loss, like confusion, like collapse. Right when you finally committed to the new self. This is the paradox of the shift. You leap, and suddenly relationships feel distant. Your job feels foreign. Your habits feel toxic. Nothing bad is happening. What's happening is misalignment being exposed. Think of it this way. You once broadcast at 93.7 FM, and your life, your people, your patterns, your experiences were tuned to that station. But now you're transmitting at 104.5. Same room, different frequency. So naturally, some things drift. Conversations feel off. Opportunities vanish. The familiar feels hollow. That's not regression. That's resonance correcting itself. In quantum terms, you've shifted your vibrational signature, and the field is recalibrating, removing everything entangled with the old you. It's not rejection. It's realignment. You may feel alone. You may feel tested. You may question the choice. But this is the exact space where reality begins to bend. When the old timeline loses grip and the new one hasn't fully formed, you're in the void, the sacred in between. And in that space, your task is not to react, but to remain in signal. This is the moment your nervous system wants to retreat, to reach for the familiar, to apologize for the change, to soften it, slow it, second-guess it. But this is the moment of anchoring. What many call tests from the universe are not tests at all. They are echoes, resonances of your past frequency bouncing back one last time, asking, "Are you certain?" And you don't answer with words. You answer with embodiment. You rise. You breathe into the frequency of your new self. You take actions the old self never dared. You stop explaining your evolution to those who demand evidence. You release not the people, but the version of you that once needed their validation. Then something shifts. A message arrives from someone unexpected. An opportunity appears that didn't exist before. A synchronicity so precise, so improbable, it makes you laugh through the tears. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. Proof that the field has locked in. That your broadcast has become baseline. That you are no longer leaking energy into expired stories. It may not unfold in a single day. It may take weeks. But it always unfolds. Because reality is not random, it is rhythmic. And when you become the rhythm of your next level, your timeline tunes itself to you. So don't fear the silence. Don't mistake the void for failure. Don't interpret the clearing as punishment. See it for what it is, a vibrational detox, a cosmic vacuum making space for the self that has already arrived. And here's the deeper truth. It's not enough to leap, you must remain. There is power in a decision no one else sees, a quiet choice made before the evidence, before the applause, before the alignment shows up outside. That is the real quantum jump. Not the vision board, not the meditation, but the moment you stop broadcasting lack and start embodying your own frequency with no witnesses but the field itself. Because the field is always listening, not as a judge, but as a mirror, a neutral intelligence bending to one thing only, your broadcast. And now you know what that broadcast truly is. Not your words, not your wants, not even your thoughts. It is the vibration you hold when no one is watching. And the most potent frequency you can hold is certainty. Not certainty in outcome, certainty in self. When you choose yourself, again and again, in the silence, in the unknown, in the waiting room between identities, you send the strongest signal the universe can receive. You declare, "This is who I am. I don't need proof to be it." That is when the shift becomes real. That is when the new timeline lands. Not because you chased it, but because you matched it. You became it. And from that moment forward, reality is no longer a condition, it is a confirmation. So don't look for results. Look for resonance. Don't ask, "Is it working?" Ask, "Am I broadcasting my future or rehearsing my past?" That single question collapses illusions, timelines, and identities in one breath. Because when you stop seeking the shift and start becoming the shift, everything reorganizes around you. And it won't be loud. It won't be dramatic. It will be subtle, elegant, inevitable. A friend who appears the moment you stop needing one. An idea that arrives when you stop forcing answers. An opportunity that makes no logical sense, but every energetic sense. That is not luck. That is not coincidence. That is the quantum field whispering back. Message received. So if something stirred in you during this transmission, if something clicked, shifted, resonated beyond words, that is your field moving. That is coherence rising. That is your new timeline opening. And here's your next step. Nothing drastic, nothing grand. Just one action from this frequency. Write the version of you you're broadcasting now. Delete what no longer matches. Sit in silence and breathe as your future self for 60 seconds longer. Whatever it is, let it come from certainty. And if you want to keep reinforcing this signal, if you want content that supports your coherence, your expansion, your quantum evolution, stay with us. Not just to subscribe, but to tune in. Because this isn't just a channel, it's a transmission. And every time you return, you're not just watching a video, you're strengthening your frequency. So if this resonates, if you're done waiting for proof, if you're ready to embody the truth you've always carried, subscribe now. And in this field, you choose yourself again and again and again, until the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself around your certainty. Because in the end, the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are, and when you finally become the version of yourself that already has it, reality simply follows.